When I started out working, I was working to sell actual 35 millimeter slides. And it used to be that corporations needed very pretty presentations. So they would hire companies to actually produce 35 millimeter slides. They had this big computer system that did it, and they would produce it. And then you'd run a slide deck. Advertising companies did that. It was the thing at the time. Regretfully, I came in that business just after PowerPoint started. In fact, the company I was working for helped develop PowerPoint. So they worked themselves right out of a business. So I was really struggling to try and sell. And I'm not a great salesperson. I'm not a great knock down doors and find things to do. I am much better at the strategic thinking. I met a gentleman who was buying one of our other products, which was an online advertising product. He saw an opportunity here that no one else had. And it was to be able to distribute a database into all the various cities and towns that he was doing work in for one of the major pharmaceutical companies. His name was Tom Oberlein. He would sit me down and recognize that I was wet behind the ears and not doing a great job. He basically made my first sale for me, and he continued to work with us because we could see something that no one else did. We developed this product, and it was delivered only inside the company, and it was developed and really created quite a bit of stir for him. He was known as the person who actually created that kind of material. One day, we would go out to lunch and talk about it, and he worked better if he got out of the office, so we would get out of the office. And he sat me down and he says, "Can I give you 3 words of advice?" And I was struggling with my career at the time. I really enjoyed working with Tom. The rest of the company I wasn't really working for. And of course, since PowerPoint was there, it was dying quickly. And he said, "Can I give you 3 words of advice?" And this was the best advice I've ever taken back. And I didn't think about it much at the time, but as he told it to me, I made notes of it, and it has grown over the period of time. He says, there's only 3 things that you need to do in business. Don't be afraid to climb the golden stairs. Build monuments to yourself, and don't bet if it's 50-50. Now, that sounds relatively straightforward, but you can unpack that so much. First of all, don't be afraid to climb the golden stairs. In many ways, we don't know what he's talking about here. What he's saying is, don't be afraid to take chances. In any part of your company, don't be afraid to take chances. Because if you climb the golden stairs, you keep going up, keep getting better, you keep expanding and growing, because we all need to do that. And if that's in an entrepreneurial side of things, keep trying different things in different areas. Keep attempting to do that over a period of time. Secondly, you talked about making monuments to yourself. Have 3 or 4 things that every year you could point to and you said, I did. When I was working for a corporation, I call them bullet points. When I'm working for myself as an entrepreneur or an entrepreneurial organization, I call it successes. What are the 4 or 5 successes that have moved your company or your career forward? Build those for yourself. Be looking for those on a regular basis. Maybe that's something external from your job. Maybe that's something internal from your job. Maybe that's something internal from your company. Make sure you continue to build those over a period of time. They will gain benefits for you. And third, don't bet on 50-50. Don't bet on something that only has a 50% chance of happening. I like to only bet on things that I'm sure are going to happen, because I'm putting time, money, and effort into it. And if I'm not betting on that, then things happen that may not be what I need. Betting on yourself is the best investment you can make. And why not go all in? Achievements are like milestones, but creating a legacy is a lifetime reward. When you invest in your growth, you're building a legacy that stands for something larger and bigger than yourselves. Your accomplishments become the foundation for something lasting and meaningful. So step up and look at each one of those 3 areas. And as you go through your planning processes yearly, or I'd really encourage you quarterly to go through those planning processes. If you'd like to know how I do that, there's a video right above here that's for planning on a quarterly basis and looking at that. Take a look and see, are you doing all 3 things, or at least the first 2? Are you continuing to climb the golden stairs? And most of the time, what you'll find is climbing the golden stairs and creating monuments to yourself are the same thing. You tend to look for new ways of doing it, new things to do. You look for new opportunities, you expand the area, you volunteer for things. And in many ways, sometimes you're volunteering for things that have nothing to do directly with what you're doing, but you're building those additional things. In a corporation, there's always volunteer organizations that need help. In an entrepreneurial organization, there are always volunteer organizations that need help. But you can do it internally to your company, you can do it internally to your industry, and internally to your area. In many ways, there's a lot of interaction that goes on. Therefore, you learn new things from new people, you gain that kind of intelligence to be able to broaden out exactly what you're doing. What I'd love you to do is I'd love you to take a little time and figure out what are the things that you're building right now that are monuments to yourself. Now, I don't want you to get caught up in the ego of you need to have it on a pedestal. But I want you to think about it as something that you can point to and say, I did that over a period of time. A couple of monuments to myself is I helped build the system that delivered every Harry Potter book. I was also a content contributor for something called the Project Management Body of Knowledge. Both of those things I can point to as accomplishments that I built. The only reason I did that is I was willing to climb the golden stairs. I raised my hand and says, yes, I'm interested in doing that. Yes, I'm actually interested in helping set up that process. Yes, I'm interested in inviting that information. In many ways, those two things will improve your career or your business more than anything else. Told to me when I was very young by a gentleman who was running a large section of the pharmaceutical industry. I realized that he was at the end of his career and I was at the beginning. Now that I'm moving towards the middle of my career and hopefully we're passing this on to the next generation who could really enjoy the three things. And finally, bet on yourself. Don't bet on other people. If it's a 50-50 bet, don't do it. If it's an 80-20 and it's about you, bet on yourself. Pick yourself up, move yourself forward, create that idea. So go ahead and write up what you're doing to climb the golden stairs and what your plans are for the next quarter to create just one monument. And maybe that would take 2 quarters. But do it. Sit down and plan, because planning becomes the most important thing you can do. If you'd like to know the other 10 rules, 2 of which Tom Overletton actually suggested to me, I'd love you to click on the link below and go over to my site, give me your email, and I'll give you those free. This is something that I spent over 20 years trying to figure out. And if we get this right, we all get better. Also, what I'd like you to do is in the comments, write down your favorite bit of wisdom or suggestion that you've gotten so that we can share it and start a conversation. I look forward to talking to you.
Thanks for tuning into today's episode on the Strategy Session, where we take your business from stuck to unstoppable. Here's another video I think you'd enjoy. If you found these insights valuable, remember to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell for notifications on our latest videos. Want to transform your business with expert strategies? Schedule your strategy session today by clicking the link in the description below. Remember, you're not just marketing, you're making history with Venture Gain. See you in the next video.